Welcome everyone to Undisputed with Clay and Brenton, where everything we say probably could be disputed. This episode is episode 3, and we're really glad you've been enjoying these things. We've been enjoying it. We're going to kick this one off. This one is going to be short and sweet, hopefully to the point. Clay, what'd you think of Phenoix?
It was basically Texas Take Two.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on. It looked like it was going to be another Kevin Harvick show there in the beginning, but thanks to a flat tire, the complexity of the race changed a little bit. Joey Logano also had tire troubles, and he wrecked out pretty quick. So, unfortunately, he's already locked in Miami. That would have been a really good way to get rid of Logano.
It would have. I completely agree.
But it's whatever. As far as the Championship 4, it's not what I was expecting. You and I were both really close.
Yes, very close.
We were each only off by one driver, but we were still off. So, I'm hopeful for a good weekend in Miami next weekend. Out of the 4 drivers, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano, I don't see Joey Logano, having been consistent enough all year to go for a championship. And honestly, I don't see Martin Truex Jr., as being consistent enough this year to go for another championship. As much as I'd like to see him win back-to-back, I just unfortunately don't see it happening this year. So I think it's really going to come down between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, which Kevin Harvick's hard to beat. And
he is.
If I had to put money down on somebody, I would, probably play it safe and go with Kevin Harvick. But deep down, and a lot of times they say your gut is right. My gut is telling me Kyle Busch again for a championship. Kevin Harvick, without his crew chief, he didn't really seem to falter too much last week, but he wasn't quite the normal Kevin Harvick. And, coming off a win last week, I think Kyle Busch is going to be, pumped up. And, what did, Baker Mayfield say this week? He woke up feeling dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Kyle Busch is going to wake up feeling dangerous.
I agree. It's I think it's going to be one of those things. I'm with you to try to keep my biasness out of it. I do think Kyle Busch is the stronger pick, and I'm probably going to go with Kyle on this one. To look at the Championship 4 in the field, I mean, you've got Kyle, who's won 8 races, you've got Harvick, who's won 8 races, and you've got Truex, who's either won 6 or 7. So they've won an enormous amount of races. Logano's been incredibly consistent, but you're right, that consistency is not good enough at Miami. With the past couple of years that you needed to win the race to win it all, I don't think Logano can show up to that fight with what he's been doing throughout the season. So you're right. Yeah, we were one driver off. I had Chase going into it. I think you had Truex out of it, I believe, but the Hendricks didn't show up at Phoenix. I mean, that just could not make that happen.
Showing up much lately at all.
Yeah. And then having with the last 2 with the Championship 4, I do think that having the Logano and Truex feud from Martinsville, that's going to show up at some point on Sunday. So I do think
it's going to resurface.
Yeah. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a whole Kyle and Harvick show. It's going to be those 2 out front. I think a lot of the drivers are going to leave them alone and just let them duke it out. As sad as that sounds, I wish guys would charge to the front and try to win the race for themselves. But again, it's you only got to show up and you only got to beat the other 4 guys. You only have to be a higher place than them. But with the last 3-4 years that we've seen this, you have to win it to win it all. I think it's just going to be between Kyle and Harvick, and I'm gonna go with Kyle on this one. I think you're right. He's gonna come out of that trailer on Sunday ready to roll.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, and I think our championship and our Homestead Miami race picks are going to be the same this week.
Yep, I think so.
We're going to copy each other this week. But yeah, I think it's going to be, probably, just another Homestead race. I don't. Than maybe a fight between Truex and Logano, which I would really like to see that.
That would be fun.
I'm hoping we get the opportunity to see that, but I don't really see anything special happening at Homestead, and I think Kyle Busch or Kevin Harvick, will win, but say Logano does win the championship, you were saying earlier how he's been consistent. Logano's been consistently average this year.
Right.
He's been there, but he hasn't won a lot.
Yep.
So when you compare somebody like Joey Logano, who's won, very few races this year, sure. He's basically gotten here by just being consistently average. How is that fair that Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, have both won so many races this year, have just been, obviously they haven't been perfect or else they would have won, 35 races.
Right.
But, you have such an amazing year, and for it to come down to one race where your points are wiped clean again, and you're all on a clean slate. Where is the incentive to win that many races throughout the year? Joey Logano won what, 2 races?
Yeah,
year?
I believe it was either 2 or 3, but I'm pretty sure it was 2.
I'm pretty sure it's 2. So yeah. 2 races versus 8. What? and really Logano could have just been solid all year, and say he won Phoenix and now he's in.
Right.
I don't know how easy that would be to happen, but I could see it happening. So I feel like NASCAR is missing a little bit of the emphasis on a flawless season.
Yes.
Throwing it back to week 1, one of my recipe for fixing the sport, definitely we gotta cut down the laps on the Sunday race, and let's put a little more emphasis back on the hype of Sunday. NASCAR's kind of drug out all weekend. Football game comes on at 1:00 on Sunday and goes off at 3:30 on Sunday. It's kind of a nice, neat little package. You come in, watch your favorite team play. There's some excitement with it. Halftime. It's fun to watch. It's condensed and it's just a fun afternoon. NASCAR, there's so much drug out all weekend, and then you pay a couple $100 for a ticket to go watch a race, and you just basically watch them go around in a circle for 400 laps in 4 hours. It's
right.
Like, where's the fun in that? And I know NASCAR knows how to do a more exciting format because they do it at the All-Star race every year.
Yes.
Let's take Daytona for example. Instead of dragging out the whole weekend, let's get rid of qualifying. They're welcome to practice all weekend. Get all the practice laps they need in. But when it comes time to Sunday, say it's the Daytona 500, which, well, side note, I think the Daytona 500 should be a night race. That's just my
that would be fun. Opinion. That would be awesome.
I think they should start that thing at like 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. I think prime time Sunday night.
Especially in February when there's nothing going on.
Right, the Super Bowl's over. There's no Sunday night football. You know, that would be a place that Fox could capitalize on this. But let's say 8 o'clock, we come in at prime time. Split the 40-car field in half. 20 cars run in duel number one. It's 20 laps. First 15 cars advance. Duel number two, the second 20 cars run. Top 15 cars from that advance. So then you got 30 cars running in the 60 lap final. So overall, you've had a 100-lap race, but it's been broken up, and in between those, NASCAR wants to do stages now. These would be fun stages in a race. And in between stages, they could do interviews and bits, and maybe we could even treat from going from that second duel to the the final show. That's where we could do the national anthem, the flyover. Heck, let's even get a band in there and play for a while.
Sure.
Maybe for big races like Daytona. And kind of make it like a halftime show.
Yeah.
I think that would really keep the fans engaged and kind of shorten the day up a little bit.
Yes.
And put a little more emphasis on the Sunday race day, because I think that those shorter or having the duels would make the drivers drive so much harder to try and not finish 16th, be in that top 15
yes.
and advance to the final show. And only being 20 laps, you don't get the next round of pit stops to work on your car.
Right.
Yep. You take Friday and Saturday and practice and practice and practice to get your car ready for the duels and then the final show, because in a 60 lap race at Daytona, I mean, you would only need really one round of pit stops.
Yes. And then that puts an emphasis on pit stops. So
right. Your pit crew needs to be flawless.
Yep.
So I think that'd be a lot of fun, and they could change it, based on the race, on the racetrack. Personally, I think we need more plate tracks. Not just Daytona and Talladega, but like in Charlotte or Texas. I mean, the way they've repaved Texas, I think restrictor plates would be really fun to I think that style of racing is more fun. It keeps the cars in packs, keeps them more action, and going back to the chase, and then the round of 8, and then the championship 4. Like I said, you can have a flawless season and then lose it all in the last race of the year. Let's not have the chase. Let's not have that playoff piece of it. Let's make them race hard each and every week, and put an emphasis on getting the W. You're going to get way more points for a win. So the more you win, the more points you accrue, and the better chance you're going to have of winning that championship at the end of the year. And basically, whoever earned the most points during the season is going to be the champion. I think that's the way a championship should work. You've worked all year to get to this point, and if you beat out, your competition all year, and you finish the last race with the most points, you should be the champion. None of this. You ran well all year, but you lost this one race, so you're done.
Right. Yeah.
It's not fair. I really don't want to see Kevin Harvick win the championship, but honestly, he should be the champion. Either him or Kyle Busch, because they've won so many races this year.
Yeah.
I would really like to see that format.
I agree, and that's what I think. Like, in regard to points, because like those were ever since we started the show, you've been shorter laps, let them drive, the stage racing. Yeah. Yep. And I completely agree. I mean, that is the best solution for it. Get those duels going, 2 stages, and then a a main event type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, putting the emphasis on the win. You put when you have, like something I've always said is you need to make it easier to explain to people. If I can say that there's always 30 cars that are going to be in the main event, mm-hmm. and that the first place gets 100 points, and the second place gets 29 points, and the third place gets 28 points, etc., down to the 30th car gets 1 point, and all the other 10 who missed it don't get any points, or however many are that don't get the points, then that becomes very easy to explain to somebody. And that also makes it easier for the consistency. Your people who are running third and fourth every week, it doesn't matter. They're not going to be a factor at the end of the season, because the winners are getting double the points than what you are, almost triple the points that you are. So you getting 100 points is a big deal, and you can easily explain it to people again, because you could say 3,600 points is a perfect season. Mm-hmm. Kyle Busch right now would be sitting at 800 points at least. Kevin Harvick 800 points at least. Mm-hmm. So those guys are getting half the season. And so for them, when you win that many times, it will matter how many how many second through 10 you have at that point. Right. But it's not going to help Joey Logano, who's only won twice. That he'd only have 200 he'd have 200 at least, but then only sitting maybe at like 500 something with all his other finishes.
And honestly, I don't see where you could have a driver win 8 races in one season with that format, because it's going to be tough to get through those dual races or heat races, whatever they wanted to call them, and then let's simplify it. You get out there, you're going to have to run hard for 20 laps, get yourself in position for the main show. Then you're going to have to get that main show and run your heart out for 60 laps at best. For a larger track, maybe a short track, maybe do 120. 120 laps does not last long at Bristol.
No, it does not.
So, you're going to have to run your heart out. So, and with that much emphasis on the win, this is going to get a lot of the drivers out of their comfort zone. Yep. They're going to run harder. Emotions are going to run higher because of what's at stake. So you're probably going to end up having more wrecks, more fights, and I think you're going to see a lot more diverse record as you go through the season. You're going to see Keselowski win. You're going to see Kevin Harvick win, Kyle Busch win. You're going to see, of course, all those drivers win as it is, but
you'll see Blaney win more. You might see Chase Elliott win more.
Right.
Look at the laps, look at the stage races as is, and see who's been winning those. If we go back and look at all the stage race winners, there's been a ton of different stage race winners throughout the season.
Exactly.
Then, that's what you're going to start to see. So.
Right. You probably even would see somebody like William Byron up there, who just he raced his way in through the 2 duels and then got to the main show. And how many times throughout even this season have you seen William Byron race his way to the front and he leaves for maybe 20 or 30 laps, and then his car just kind of falls off, and then the normal guys pick him back up. Say his team set him up to run that kind of race where he could get to the front in say they're at Daytona, he could get to the front in 50 laps and maintain that lead for 10 for the last 10 laps. I think we would see a lot more first time winners. You'd see a lot more diverse group of guys out there winning. And overall, I think it would make the change, even though you wouldn't have the playoffs and the chase and all that. I still think you'd see a pretty good battle for a championship at the end of the year.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
And I know we're running short on time, but personally, I don't like Homestead as the last race of the year. I think it's anticlimactic, totally boring to end the season on.
Yeah. Which would you pick? What do you think would be better?
All the drivers would hate me, but I think Daytona should be the last race of the year.
That would be fun. Start and end with it. Yeah.
Yep. run the Daytona. I think we should have 3 races at Daytona. Honestly, start with the Daytona 500. Have the middle at the Coke Zero 400, and then finish the year back at Daytona. I mean, they're going to Florida anyway.
Let's
just stop.
Yeah,
stop at Daytona.
Stop back at there. Yeah, I agree.
I would like to see that kind of racing at the end of the year. And under the current format, a plate track would be terrible as the last race of the year, because you could have a brilliant, flawless season and then go to Daytona and get taken out in the first big one, and oh well, try again next year. If a plate track was the end, if there's a close race, say Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott are neck and neck, in the points, Chase has 850 points and Blaney has 840 points. One big one could change the outcome of that race.
Yes, it could. Yep.
I guess it wouldn't be a lot different than what we're doing now, but I still think it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people's attention spans, currently are very short. So anything NASCAR can do to get things shorter, I think will probably generate interest. And I think the days of endurance type racing are kind of over. There's no need for this 500 type lap stuff, not in circles at least. The 24 hours of Sebring and 24 hours of Daytona and Nuremberg and stuff like that, those are all endurance racing cars made for that. So I think NASCAR is kind of shifting. Younger viewers and drivers or younger viewers and fans are probably wanting something like that. So if they're watching this podcast, you heard it from us. You heard it from Clay, and you heard it from me. That's what we're asking for. So
actually, listening to what I just said there, I guess running Daytona as the last race of the year probably wouldn't be any better than if you ran it now, because like that scenario I just gave, if Chase was at 850 and Blaney was at 840, Daytona could really pretty much still screw up a perfect year for them.
Yeah.
So maybe let's retract that, and maybe we would do Charlotte, like a track like Charlotte instead, where there's good hard racing there, but not quite as much potential for disaster.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool for the drivers to end the season at home too.
Yeah, and at home of NASCAR. So
Charlotte would be my pick.
Okay. That works. And that's the fun part, because our show is undisputed. So if people want to dispute us, we welcome it. We still haven't had any comments or anything yet. So if you've listened to us this long, we're shorter this week. We've wrapped it up in about 20 minutes. So hopefully you've stuck with us this long. It's 10 minutes less-ish than what we have been doing. So we're really looking forward to keeping doing this in the off season. So we've got plans for that. Don't think that this is going anywhere. We're still doing it. And hopefully we'll see what the next year brings as we go. We've got all kinds of topics we can talk about through the off season. So thanks for joining us on Undisputed, and we'll look forward to you on the next video.